What's going on, everybody? David here, back with another video. So today we're going to do updates. So we're going to look at the stimulus package update. We're also going to look at the COVID-19 numbers. We're going to look at the unemployment numbers. We're going to look at the reopening. So what states are reopening, what states are pausing. We'll take a look at that. We're going to look at the general election polls. We're going to look at the presidential election polls. And then we're also going to look at the vaccine update. So we're going to start doing a vaccine update. So I'll let you know what information is coming to us when it comes to the vaccines. So that being said, if you guys can do me one big favor, please hit that like button. It does help with the YouTube algorithm. Also, please subscribe to the channel. We do daily videos and live streams on the weekends. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to look at today is the COVID-19 numbers. So looking at the numbers here, we're at almost 7 million cases. We have 201,000 deaths, almost 202,000 deaths as of right now. And so those numbers just keep increasing. We all need to hope for a vaccine. We'll talk about vaccines in a little bit, but we need to hope for a vaccine. We need to really slow the spread down because the numbers are just, I mean, it's astronomical. We're at 200,000 deaths. And I talked about this in a video a couple of days ago. And it's just amazing to me that we've reached this level. And so hopefully we can get things together and start working in the right direction and really start to slow this whole spread. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is enhanced unemployment. With enhanced unemployment, we have pretty much every state has applied and been approved except for South Dakota, who did not apply. So we do have some states that have exhausted their funds, and I'm going to talk about those right now. So Alabama, Arizona, Idaho, Massachusetts, Missouri, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Texas, and Utah. They've all exhausted all their funds, so you're not going to be receiving any additional funding from those states. We do have some other states that are giving an additional $100. So you know the federal government is giving $300, and these states are giving an additional $100. Those states include Montana, Kentucky, West Virginia, and the U.S. territory of Guam. So those places you'll be getting $400 per week instead of the $300. So that's good. So one more thing I want to talk about is the unemployment filings from last week. So 870,000 people filed for unemployment last week. And so the week before last, it was around 870,000. And so we're still around that same number. We're down from 1 million, but we're still not doing great when it comes to that category. All right, next thing I want to talk about is the reopening. So what states are reopening? What states are pausing? So looking at the map here, and this is from the New York Times, we have states that are in orange. Those are states that are reversing the reopening. We have states that in blue. Those are the states that have reopened. We have states that are light blue. Those are states that are reopening. So they haven't completely reopened yet. And then we have this beige color, and those are states that are pausing. So if you look, you see some of the big states when it comes to reversing: California, Arizona, Colorado, Texas, Iowa, Illinois, so Michigan. Some of these states right here, they're reversing. They're actually going the other way. That means that there are probably spikes in certain areas. Also, Hawaii and Puerto Rico are other areas that are reversing. So just interesting to look at the map, and so you can kind of see what's going on around the U.S. when it comes to the states and the guidelines and stuff like that. Now, when we're looking at these guidelines, and when we're looking at a lot of states, especially the states that are reversing and some of the states that have not completely opened, they, like at restaurants, you can eat outside, but you can't eat inside. Well, that's good for states like California, where you can eat outside pretty much year round. But if you are in an area where it gets really cold, it snows, stuff like that, you're not going to be able to eat outside at some of these restaurants, which might cause some of these restaurants to have to shut down if that situation arises where we haven't moved forward and they're not completely reopened at that time. So just something to think about. And so we might see some other issues rise when it comes to the weather, as well as, I mean, we're in a flu season too, so that's going to be another situation where people are not going to be wanting to be outside and be in the elements eating at a restaurant. They'd rather just order the food, take it home or something like that. So just something else to think about. All right, next thing I want to talk about is the polls. Okay, so we have an election. We have an election in 40 days. And so let's take a look at the polls here. And so this is Real Clear Politics. Now, they average all the major polls, and so that's why I like looking at them. So right now, Biden is up 50% and Trump is 42.9%, and that gives Biden a lead of plus 7.1. So Biden's still up. He's up in pretty much all the polls. Rasmussen had him up by 1. So that's within the margin of error there. But when it comes down to it, Biden he's been up this whole time. We'll have to see. We're going to have a debate next week. So we'll have to see if Trump is able to catch him after this debate. So that's something that we're all going to be keeping our eye on. The next thing I want to talk about is Johnson & Johnson. So they have indicated that they're in the final stage of their vaccine testing. And so I don't know what that means as far as how soon they'll be able to have a vaccine, but they are in the final stages. So that's a good sign. And they've also indicated that it looks like you're only going to have to take one dose and you don't have to take multiple doses. So that will be good. That means that people can take one dose and then move on. They don't have to come back and take another dose. Now, not everyone's going to take the vaccine, but at least there's something else that will be out there, at least to help people as far as being confident and being able to travel a little bit more and say, okay, I can take the vaccine as long as I'm testing and knowing that I don't have the virus, then I can kind of go about my normal activities. So let's just keep our fingers crossed when it comes to that. And the last thing I want to talk about is the stimulus package. So we're at a stage right now. We know Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away. So we are kind of in a holding period right now. When it comes to the Senate, they're focused on that right now. President Trump will nominate someone on Saturday, and then from that point, then they're going to be moving into their hearings. However, the House is available and they can continue their negotiations, so let's hope that picks back up. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is reoccurring stimulus. And I know you're talking reoccurring stimulus checks. No, they're not even talking about that anymore. Well, Mark Cuban was talking about it in May, and CNBC did an article, and they're revisiting this whole reoccurring payments. And the way Mark Cuban put it, and this would be, it would cost about the same as a regular stimulus check. Now, you're not going to receive, in some situations, you're going to receive less. However, it would be a situation where every American household would receive $1,000 every 2 weeks. So that's $2,000 a month. You would receive it for 2 months. So $1,000, you receive that $1,000 in 2 weeks. You have to spend that $1,000 within 10 days, and then you get another $1,000. You have to spend that within 10 days, and then you get another $1,000, spend it in 10 days, another $1,000, spend it in 10 days. And so what that will do is stimulate the economy, because every household is receiving this extra $1,000, and they would be spending that. And you could spend it on anything that you want, but you just have to do it in 10 days. Now, I'm sure there's some loopholes around it. People will be spending money on different things and finding ways to get gift cards and things like that, so they don't have to actually spend the money. But what they want to do, and what Mark Cuban is trying to focus on, is getting that money back into the economy, getting it back into these businesses, which will allow these businesses to start hiring more people. And then hopefully that will jumpstart our economy. So that's the whole concept there. But still interesting. They're still bringing it up. So maybe it's something that we might see. I mean, they're already been talking about, in the Problem Solvers Caucus, they were talking about the $1,200 and then maybe an additional $1,200 in January or February. So this might be something that they might even consider as well, looking at the $1,000 every 2 weeks for 2 months, and see where that goes, and then maybe revisit it at a later date. So it's just something that's still out there, still being talked about. So I want to know what you guys think about that. Let me know down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.